Sashi Puki Jushin Toka Ling Yinde Badi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Oargi Jokun Namda Shingla Juparsho Idam Guru Anandala Niyatayami Sangye Chudang Soki Choknamla Jamchu Bardu Dagni Kyasuchi Dagi Chunyen Gipe Sunam Ki Drola Benshir Sangye Druparsho Sangye Chudang Soki Choknamla Jamchu Bardu Dagni Kyasuchi Dagi Chunyen Gipe Sunam Ki Drola Benshir Sangye Druparsho Sangye Chidang Soki Choknamla Jamchu Bardu Dagni Kyasuchi Dagi Chunyen Gipe Sunam Ki Drola Benshir Sangye Druparsho
Shogi Shmogi. So I spent a couple hours on this last night also. Because this is hard.
Wordland.
So here we go. Venerable Utpala has reached the mind-only section. We just finished the lower middle way. And just to remind you, her book is called Dakji, which means what? Tea.
Questions?
We had not tea. We had tea the other day.
It's about notes.
It's coiled.
That's
roots. The
root.
sword, right? Yeah. Reltry is sword.
Notes on a lecture.
Tea means a teaching.
Oh yeah.
Like Bechi.
Like
No, that's a different. That's a term. This is That's KHRI.
Right.
This is KHRID.
Oh.
Okay. Tea means a teaching. Okay. And then you often say Bechi if you want to say.
Book teaching.
If you say I'm going to my lama's teaching, you don't call it tea. You call it Bechi. Becha. Yeah, chape. Okay. That's a nice idiom. Chape.
Chape.
Chape
Book part.
is an honorific book.
Oh.
Chak,
Chakpe.
as in high word for hand.
Hand.
Then the low word, you switch it. Becha.
Pecha.
Okay.
Chape.
Becha Gegemi, he's my scripture teacher. Chapeki. Lopen or something.
He teaches me.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. Sumbani, you want to read, please?
Sumani. Sen sam pelu ki gansa ki getak me ni ngar she zimpa taryena.
Yeah.
Simba.
Low tone S.
Hell.
So when you see Z, forget Z. It's low tone S. Sin. So never think Z for Z. It's just an S sound. Why do you use a Z? It's to distinguish it from the normal tone. That's all. It has nothing to do with the Z. Okay. Sinba. Okay. Simtame luki kanzakitamini. Now, if we're going to talk about Simba, means he's going to explain the mind-only system, and he starts out by saying
The selflessness of a person.
about the lack of a self to person.
According to
It's the same as I said before. I don't have to go into that. I mentioned it already. Okay, so I went to find it. I tried to go find where did he mention it, and I think it's here. And this is something we translated in the first term, I think. There is no difference between followers of the lower, nowadays I'll say branch, of the middle way school and those of the schools below them. They all think that it's the subtle lack of self in nature to person is the emptiness where that person devoid of being substantial. So all this Rankya Tupi thing, Zeyu, Rankya Tupi Zeyu, substantial in the sense of self-standing, that we just got through tearing apart for the lower middle way school is also accepted by the mind-only school as the lack of a self-nature to people.
Right.
Okay, so they agree on the lack of a self-nature to people, which is in Mainga.
But they don't
Means they
agree
don't
to the lack of
Yeah, they
self-nature.
don't agree on what's the lack of self-nature to things.
Yeah.
Okay, so but he says, I don't have to cover the lack of a self-nature to people, because it's what I told you before, and this is what he told you before, in the bold. Okay.
Would you footnote the just say?
I would,
As
because
in
by now the
verse
reader
X.
is totally lost.
Can you airdrop me a copy of this, please?
Yeah, you're gonna need it actually. I was gonna do that and I forgot. Where's the airdrop?
Paul, do you want to throw it straight into the Dropbox?
I keep updating the date just so we're all sure it's another one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what's he got to do now? What's his job?
Talk about the selflessness of things.
Yeah, what is
that
the
we
lack of a
disagree.
self-nature to things?
Okay.
Please read, well, if you're not busy. You're busy?
No.
Okay. No, I mean, she's putting
Excuse me,
stuff
I'm
into the
busy.
Dropbox.
다음에 족순이 족순이 니때
Good.
ngô
Done.
oh
Sorry.
sorry 땅케 parla kuntak pe kuntak rangit seniki madruka dam sutra sochidang yi tongbao.
Good. I would check this bowl in the scan. If it might be Wa. By the way, look at these mistakes. I mean, it's bizarre. We gotta have another copy from St. Petersburg. We need it desperately. This
Yeah.
text is a disaster, and it takes many hours to fix it. You know, it's a real disaster. Look it up. Look at this.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mistakes in just these 3 lines.
Is
Okay.
it because of the unclear scan or?
Yeah.
The carving was a bad print.
Yeah, it was bad. It was like
The inking was bad. Yeah. And the typist was on meth.
As they do in Camp Dongbo.
Camp Dongpo.
So this is gonna be now. Mind Only School has an idea of kuntak. Shenwan kuntak yongduk. Say Shenwan. Kuntak yongduk. This is one of the pillars of the Mind Only School, right? Shenwan kuntak yongduk. And we talked about it in Shenzhen last time. Shenwan. Nowadays I like to call it dominated things. I've spent many years thinking about a single word that might give it. And what's dominated mean, you know, in a political sense?
You're at
Under the
will
power of.
Yeah, you're under someone else's power, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, this department of government dominates this part of the government or something like that. So that's the idea of Shenwang. Shengi Wang means under the power of others. But it means your life is run by somebody else. Okay, so it means that's a synonym for what in the Mind Only School?
Changing things.
Yeah, changing things, because they are at the mercy of their causes. If the causes wear out, they have to change. If the causes change, they have to change. Okay, so that's called Shenwang. Then people think that they are self-existent in some way. Okay. And the people imagine that they are self-existent in some way. Then that's called kuntak.
Right.
Okay, to imagine. Kuntak means imaginary in the Mind Only School. Okay, meaning you fantasize something about them which is not true. For example, you might believe that they are an outer object when they're not. Okay, then that would be kuntak. The idea that they are an outer object would be a fantasy or what do you call it? Imaginary
Fancy.
Sometimes I call it fantasies.
That's cool.
Kuntak, okay?
Yeah.
Now,
Fancy with a PH.
then there's a formula, and that's what we called it last time, but there's a formula, okay? Yeah, an
That's what
equation. Shenwangs minus Kuntaks equals Yongdups, okay? So Yongdup can mean the conclusion of a process, the outcome. It can mean outcome of a process. So in this school, emptiness is called the outcome. Okay, if you take these changing things and you subtract wrong ideas about them, you come out. That process is establishing emptiness. Okay, so the word kuntak in this school, as opposed to other schools where it might mean inborn, learned as opposed to inborn, right? We have kuntak as opposed to senge.
Right.
Yep.
It's not what it means here.
Right.
Okay,
It just happens to
And-
be the word.
so be careful with kuntaks. There's like 5 different kuntaks. Okay, first of all, this is not the kuntak in learned wrong view as it is in his book. In his book, kuntak is always opposed to
Fancy.
Kenke, Sujata, it came in you, inborn. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean a learned view. And in this discussion today, it's not referring to the kuntak as the senyisum, as the three qualities of the mind-only system. It's not talking about that kuntak, which is frustrating. Okay,
Yeah.
he's on a different kuntak.
Oh.
Okay,
Couldn't talk
so
about
just be aware.
Yeah.
So the one you just gave us is the Kuntak of the Zenitsu or no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah,
So,
but not the one he's using today.
and so the thing that's important about the Kuntak is not necessarily that it's a mental image, but that it's the wrong idea about the Shenhua.
In that school.
Right, you could say that. It's a fantasy, meaning it's unfounded. It's wrong. It's a wrong idea. It's a wrong image. It's an idea you have about things which is incorrect. So kuntak in that case means it's just attributed. You see, just attributed, we call him that, but he's not really. Okay? It means just call him that. Okay? Now that's getting similar to this one here today. So there's an idea of ngo dan keparla kuntapi kuntak. Say ngo dan keparla kuntapi kuntak. So, and this kuntak might end up in Rondo, okay? But we're not going to go there yet. So it's an idea about something where you attribute to it a basic nature and characteristics, okay? So,
nature characteristics.
like if it was I don't know, Boompa, its basic nature would be round belly, flat bottom, has the function to, but its qualities might be that it's a gold color
It's tall.
or something like that, other qualities of it. So one is its definition almost, its basic nature, and one is its qualities. And he's going to give an example. We'll get there. Where you label a thing with a label about its nature and its qualities. Where you label a thing with a label about its nature and its qualities.
So like
So
one
it's-
is a gerund and one is a
Yeah, attributing
attributing
attributes.
attributes.
I said attributed attributes.
Oy.
That's probably.
What-
If you want to confuse the reader.
Which he
What's
does.
SW?
Sorry?
What's SW?
Oh, that's when I write a note to myself or I have an opinion that's unfounded in scripture. It's swan. It's short for swan. It's an old thing I used to use.
It stands for say what?
Huh?
Say what?
It just means it's a note to myself.
Yeah.
Rankitseniki Madupa. So the fact that quality, the fact that basic natures and qualities are only attributed, right?
Okay.
and I take this as a positive, and we'll have to work with it. The fact that they don't exist in and of themselves, okay, by definition, okay. In English, we can say by definition. So that's their first version of their emptiness of things in this school. What's this school? Mind only school. And it doesn't go to the three characteristics.
Right.
It just goes to something else. He goes to attributing basic nature and identifying qualities to a thing.
Is this the second flavor?
Or yeah, that's a good question.
third maybe?
And I'm going to throw a bomb at you. This is the one where about names.
Right.
The
Neo
thing
Young.
given the name
Oh.
and the name given to it are not self-existent.
Third
You
flavor.
could have called a rose a car,
Uh-huh.
and it would smell the same.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
A rose by any other name would be the same. That's the punchline here. Okay.
Okay.
He's talking about naming.
Oh, okay.
That's a ball?
Well,
Maybe it hasn't
it's
hit
a
yet.
long story. Names are not given self-existently, and that if people understood that, a lot of the trouble in the world would be avoided.
Right.
You know, like calling this bad or calling this good.
Calling us bored.
That's a perception.
Right.
It's not inherent.
Right.
The name bad doesn't necessarily apply to Trump or something. You know? I mean, it's possible something good coming. You know?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't. He's not self-existently the recipient of that name.
Right.
Okay. Or you could have called this a fish.
Uh-huh.
You know. And if people understood that, there'd be a lot less miscommunication in the world. The NVC. You know.
Yeah.
Different people use different names. Don't worry about it. You know, don't start having a war with some country because you name things differently.
Called the coffee fish.
Okay. Okay. I mean, that's the point. Okay. And specifically, does the object given the name exist in and of itself? You see, that as an object given that name.
Uh-huh. Right.
So obviously, you could take both parts: the namer, the naming, the name. But the emphasis in this school is what's the nature of the object that's given the name? Does it exist in and of itself?
The named
As
object.
as an object being called something.
Uh-huh.
So we're describing the mind-only view of emptiness, and we're using the word
Of the emptiness of things.
Things.
okay,
Because we
Yeah.
already handled
and,
people.
right, and we're using kuntak twice, but you're saying this is not kuntak in the sense of the three attributes.
Right.
It's similar, right?
I mean, there's obviously similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is not a discussion of the three attributes.
Right.
Okay.
It's not going there.
But
And that's confusing.
kuntak, which is being kuntaks, is basically kuntak as in the three attributes.
Right.
I don't know if everything attributed is the second attribute.
First attribute.
I wouldn't say kuntape chiriyana kuntayin bekyo. Seni sumki kuntayin bekyo.
You don't know if
Just
it's
because
they're one
something
and the same.
is labeled may not necessarily mean it's the second of the three characteristics of the mind-only school.
Okay.
Okay.
That
But let's
label.
not go there. Huh?
Okay. And before you said kuntak as opposed to drangdo, or was it that they have the same? You
Kuntak.
mentioned kuntak and drangdo.
No, I'm just saying his
Jondo.
kundak here is going to tend towards drondo.
Okay.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
Uh-huh.
And they're related. The verb is the same.
Uh-huh.
Ndo is the
Do.
present tense of thought.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, he slips in a second easier emptiness.
Yeah.
And this requires your appreciation that the word tongba or tongwa, whatever it was, requires the use of the instrumental.
Uh-huh.
In English, it requires the genitive.
Uh-huh.
His
It hasn't.
speech was empty of content. Okay?
Yeah.
And in English, in Tibetan, you have to say empty by content.
Uh-huh.
Okay? You have to use the instrumental. Okay. So the gakcha is going to be the thing that comes just before the key,
Uh-huh.
just before the
Oh, this is
instrumental.
cool.
Okay? When you say empty of content, the gakcha was meaningful content of his speech.
Form and sounds and such are empty
Okay,
of meaning.
yeah.
That's cool.
So in Buddhism, and when we express the six flavors, the last three syllables are always ki, ton, empty of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, empty of. And tonwa is the more normal form, so I would check the scan. Although tomba is acceptable variant, but less less literary. Okay, so dongwa means a verb, makes it into a verb, empty of. And dongba is always emptiness. Okay, and then sometimes it's misused as dongwa. So I don't know which one he's using here. But what are things empty of? Go back to the keys, to the instrumental, and look at what's in front of it.
Yeah.
So in English it would be the reverse. Empty of
Meaning.
content. Yeah. So what's
Cheated.
yeah? She did.
General meaning?
No.
Outer objects.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
that's
Your interpretation depended on mispronouncing it in your head.
not- Okay.
Okay.
That's SPY.
Jiden. Yeah. Jiden. It's not
General.
Shiden. Okay. And that happens a lot. So you got to pronounce things in your head properly, and you have to learn to pronounce them in your head
What,
properly.
what did I pronounce?
So it
this as?
sounds in forms or
No, you
SPY?
see, you said general. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheated
Okay.
instead of-
So
Forms
things
and
like
She.
Oh.
She.
visible form. I again, because it's the object. We're talking about the object of the eye power.
Yeah.
I would refer to it as visible form because otherwise it can be mixed up with the first of the five skandhas, which includes all forms, all kinds of forms. So no, I think normally you'd have to be careful to maybe add visible, because when you see dra, it means this one must have been visible
So,
form.
got you.
Okay.
And
So
Shida too also. Sort of.
yeah, things like visible forms and sounds are empty of what?
Being outer objects.
Nice. Okay, nice. Yeah. Got it? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
That's a
does-
second and easier form of the emptiness of
The mind only.
things
Things.
in the mind-only school. And he's not going to spend much time on it. He's more interested in the one that he spent 2 lines on.
Would the fact that the tongpa is at the end of the sentence and ends with an owl, wouldn't that indicate that it should be a verb? Given that there's no other verb that
yeah,
comes in there?
Yeah, if there's an instrumental in front of it.
Yeah.
If there's an
And
instrument.
that's from
Yeah.
some of it,
Yeah. But it's not a kaba. Some people use
Okay.
tomba for tomba. You gotta check the scan. And I spent a lot of time with the scan last night. It's not
sorry.
that bad. It's not like a disaster. I think the typist just had trouble with it. It's doable, but it'd be nice to have a better one. Okay. This one was a trip. You know. Okay, here we go.
Deni, kaang,
Gang.
oh,
First
Gang.
column. Gang.
gang, kor.
Now don't say korkor. Say korlo.
Korlo
Parbe.
warbe. Parbe.
Oh my god.
Korlo parbe.
Den.
Whoa.
Dendun
Yimpe.
yimpar. Korlo.
Yeah, yimpar. Korlo. Tame.
Drupar de.
It's big mistakes, like impossible mistakes to figure out. It took like an hour. You know, bizarre mistakes, incredible mistakes. Anyway, I'm so smart as a person. Then you got both of these what?
These types of emptiness
Good. Of
of things.
things, good. Both of these emptinesses of things that I just talked about, okay? They say, duh. They say, go to the end. They say, they are what the Buddha was trying to teach during the Parpa Korlo.
Second
middle.
one of the wheel.
Yeah, during the middle of the 3 turnings, okay? According to them, that's what he was really talking about when he taught the Heart Sutra and the Dharmakaya Sutra and things like that, okay? Yimbe, and this is wrong. And it just bothered me, and then finally I figured it out. It should be Yimpar,
Oh.
okay? Because this is Drug. So Drug means to prove something is something. To prove something is something. And it requires the Dani grammar case. It requires R. Okay? But the way they mistyped it, this becomes the reason for that. And it doesn't make sense. It subtly doesn't make sense. So it's really bad. It's a really, really bad mistyping. And then I found the carving and it's an R. Okay? Okay? So what's it say now? So forget this space, okay? It doesn't make any.
Okay.
Ultimately, it's confusing. They say, okay, that these two, thanks Siri, are established. Now go here instead of up there. If it had been bus, you would have had to go up here. But because it's not bus, you can stay down here.
Okay.
Okay? Those two, moreover, they believe are established by the final korlo
Okay.
By the last turning of the wheel.
as being
Third turning of the wheel.
descendant
As the
of the
middle turn.
parva.
Okay.
The real meaning of
The
the
real
second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good. I will give you a high five, but we'll hit shopping. Cool, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now that it's all fixed. Okay, so they say the third turning of the wheel proves that those two were what Buddha was talking about in the second turning of the wheel. Okay. Because mind only school says which turning of the wheel is correct.
Third.
Yeah, the third. And then specifically they believe that the third turning of the wheel was correct in correcting the second turning of the wheel.
Right.
Or clarifying the second turning of the wheel. So they said, in their opinion, the second turning of the wheel was too radical. And then Lord Buddha clarified in the third turning of the wheel that he didn't exactly mean what he said in the second turning of the wheel. Okay. What's the Buddha's own position on which wheel was correct?
All of them, depending on who's listening.
As expressed in the Sandhya Mochana Sutra, which is what we're studying in Shenzhen, which is what Yuan Sei
In
wrote
that
about.
sutra, he said three. Number three is correct.
Yeah, in that sutra, somebody asked, there's 10 questions, I
That's
think,
right.
asked by bodhisattvas. And
Mhm.
one of the questions is,
Seven.
which one of the wheels is the real one? And Buddha says, I was thinking about it, and, I was really considering, and the one that I really meant, what I said was the third. In that sutra, when pressed by his direct student, Buddha in that sutra says, the third one was the one I meant.
Right.
And was this student sort of scared of wheel number
And then,
number two?
and then it takes people like Jetsun Kappa to say,
He
And
was
the
being
Gajan.
figurative.
yeah, he was playing the same game in that sutra that he was playing
Right.
during the third part of the third wheel.
Right. Right.
Okay?
If he says to you in the third wheel, I didn't mean it when I said the second wheel, then why are you going to trust him now when he says this time I mean it?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, and to a higher, and to a stronger intellect, it makes that kind of sense.
Right.
And to a lesser intellect, it's even getting worse. You see what I mean? Okay? Alright. Okay, good. Anyway, I'm so proud to figure that out.
Yay!
Thank you guys for
Look
Now,
how smart everybody.
now he's misspelled the names of a bunch of famous books, or miscarved. Okay, so let's please read.
Gongdrel,
Yeah,
Jangsa,
Changsa,
Changsa,
Changju Sampesa.
Tekdu,
Take Du,
Duwaso, Neshepe Don Jeni Ki Lekshe Ningpo Lake Tenla Papa.
Den,
Tenla
Papa,
Tenla Papa.
Papa. This should be Papa, because it's the past tense of what?
Oh.
Bet.
Bep,
Bet.
Bep,
Bet.
MB, Bep. Yeah, make fall down. Okay. Now he's gonna explain what Jetsun Karpa explained is the meaning of a bunch of mind-only shastras, okay, and the sutra where the Buddha clarified what he really meant. Okay, so he said you could take what the Buddha said he meant, and then you can take all the mind-only commentators on it, and then you can take Jetsun Kappa explaining all those guys, including the Buddha, and I'm going to give you Jetsun Kappa's
Summary. Distillation.
Distillation of the whole thing. Okay. So then, I'm not very familiar with the mind-only literature. we don't study it in the monastery, except briefly during Tsongkhapa. Actually, it's not even part of the curriculum. So I went and studied them for you, and I got the correct names and stuff for you. Okay. So in general, it's not a huge section of the Tengyur. If you consider that the Tengyur is 3,700 books, there's only 65 are mind only. Okay. So what percent is that? I don't answer that. It's 0.2% or something like that. It's crazy. Okay. When do I give my talk downstairs?
It's 2.
When do I talk downstairs?
It's 2.
It's about 1.5%.
Yeah, Nick, I need a printout of the shopping list before I go downstairs.
Okay, do it right now.
Okay.
The one that I sent you last time.
Sorry, yeah.
Did you look?
So, yeah, extract it and put it in a Word document and print a single page that you can do for me.
I got it.
I just need it in my pocket
Okay.
all day today.
Because the numbers on the Word document weren't, I don't know if you
I don't-
adjusted anything.
I didn't adjust anything.
Okay, I'll print out a couple of things.
Give me the,
Got it.
worst case scenario numbers, okay? It's
Also,
always
if you-
better.
All right, I'll do that
If
then.
you can give me the shopping list too, before you leave, before you start.
Oh, that's a different shopping list.
I know.
Okay. Okay. So here's the books that he mentioned. Gongdrel is Dode Gongdrel, which is Sandinirmochana Sutra. Okay. And I used to have trouble with this pronunciation of the Sanskrit here. Sandhi comes from di, which means to think, like di 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 di. So Sandhi means Gongba, means what I was really thinking. Sandhi means Gomba, means what I was really thinking. Okay. Mochana comes from moksha, much, which means to free or liberate. And near moch means untie or liberate. Okay. So it means to comment on what I really meant. To untie, to unravel. It's really unravel what I really meant. So Sandhi, pause, nirmochana. Okay. And this is nis, but before M it changes to R, but that's another, like Ayurveda. Okay, you guys okay?
Yeah.
The second one, Changsa, is
Changchu Senpesa.
yeah, Changsa Misa, which is a section, lay, the Yogacara Bhumi. Okay. The
Okay.
Yogacara levels of yogic practice. Okay, levels of practice. So it's Bodhisattva Bhumi from the Yogacara Bhumi. And in the Sanskrit title you'll see Yogacara Bhumao, which is the ablative, from the Yogacara Bhumi, Bodhisattva Bhumi. It'll say Yogacara Bhumao, Bodhisattva Bhumi. Okay. From the Yogacara. And that's by Arya Sangha. Okay. Then Tekdu is the name is a little frustrating because Tekpa Chempa Duba, a summary of the Greater Way, Mahayana Sangraha.
Why is the name frustrating?
Actually, the next one is the one I'm thinking of, by Arya Sangha. And then the third Tengyur book mentioned.
Oh, he just says Sangra.
Yeah, he calls it Dua.
Uh-huh.
Which is Namba Tenla Apadua, which is really Nyaljo Chupi San Namba Tenla Apadua. Okay. Anyway, it's a mess. Vinishchaya Sangraha. Okay. Setting forth. A summary of the setting forth. A summary of the presentation. Of their presentation, meaning, as found in the Yogacara Bhumi, it's another section in the Yogacara Bhumi, okay, called a summary of their presentation, okay, meaning mine only. Okay, so there's the books for you, and now he's not only gonna see the last word here is as Tsongkhapa set it forth. We're not done yet. Okay, we're going from Buddha to Asanga to Tsongkhapa to Kedoji. Okay, Kedo Rinpoche in his Tongtun
Interlude on emptiness.
Interlude on emptiness. Okay.
Mhm.
Which I was using it a lot for. I was going to teach the 6 flavors of emptiness, and I got into the first flavor, and I wrote 200 pages of notes from K to J, and then I stopped because that's only the third of the first flavor. I just didn't have time. I had to do contracts. You see, this is my life. It was extremely important, and I didn't have time. I couldn't do it, and I didn't teach it because I had to do the contracts. So anyway,
Maybe this be the end of all contracts. Yay!
yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, so I'm going to take the way Kirubje Gyepashe explained it in detail. But that's too much for you guys. I'll do it. I'll just give you the essence of. I'll just summarize it in the essence. Okay. So this sentence is becoming rather convoluted. I will give you the distilled essence of the expanded explanation of K in his interlude on emptiness, in which he describes what was set forth by Jetson Kappa in his Essence of Eloquence, which itself explains the meaning of the levels of the Bodhisattva, the summary of the way, and the abbreviation, which
And
all
so on.
relate to
Oh,
the commentary on what I really meant, spoken by Lord Buddha. Okay, that's your sentence. He's tracing back where he got this. He just wants you to know where he got it from, which is good manners. Okay, and that's why we do so many footnotes and stuff.
Yeah. That's your sentence. Don't make that a sentence.
Now, if this is the thing that I can refer to in 2 ways, I can say, I can talk about its essence. This is the thing which holds coffee. Or I can talk about its other characteristics. It's white, it's made of ceramic, okay? So that I'm attributing a nature and qualities to this thing. Nature meaning its main nature, qualities meaning its other attributes, okay? But when I talk about its nature or its qualities, how do I feel about the thing I'm describing? You see, the thing I'm labeling. Okay, do I feel it depends on the label somehow, or do I feel that somehow it exists in and of itself? In and of itself. Okay. Before I gave it the labels, did it exist? In this school, well, in the 2 listener schools, he says, in the 2 listener schools, they would say that the thing I'm giving a name has always been there by itself, in and of itself. Rangitseniki dupa, by definition. The thing you're attributing a nature, and the thing you're attributing other qualities, the thing you're giving the qualities and the characteristics exists in and of itself. It was always there. Then you came along and gave it a description of its basic nature and of its qualities. Okay, but it was always there. Okay, so the 2 lower schools, which I gave here to you, Chedamao and Dodepa, to remind myself, listener schools, the 2 listener schools, they believe, and this is very important that this comma is not here. It doesn't make any sense. Any key before a comma means disjunction,
Right.
but, and it's totally wrong here. So okay, I fixed it here, but you may not notice. Okay, if you read it as a comma, it will take you half an hour to figure out what he's talking about because it doesn't belong here.
So is it
The
just a
typist has-
blotch?
Yeah, it's a blotch,
Yeah.
but it's a bitch of a blotch because no, it just means you're gonna misread it for half an hour and then finally you're gonna figure out he put a comma where there's no comma. In this particular case, a comma changes the meaning of the sentence radically. It doesn't often do that, but it would here because it's the disjunctive genitive at the end of the phrase. Okay.
So when you say listener schools, could it, I mean, as easily be, is there a distinction between listener schools or self-made Buddhist schools?
No. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, that's a good question.
He called them something else earlier on in the text. I can't remember.
I don't know.
The functionalists.
Oh, functional.
Oh, that's the lower
Lower
three and a half school.
Oh.
Three, sorry.
Three
yeah.
schools.
Oh, so now we've got a
Oh,
new
you're right,
Yeah, 3.
division.
That's the
Yeah,
lower
same
two.
thing.
Yeah. Okay. So they believe that she, meaning the
Base.
the cup before I describe its nature and its qualities. Okay. The cup before I name it cup. The cup before I name it cup. Okay. They believe it exists through some reality of its own. Nelu can mean reality. It means way of staying. It's a synonym for reality. Okay. Nelu. So they believe it exists by power of some reality of its own. Okay. Before I start calling it anything. Okay. By power of its reality, and it exists that way. They believe, you can say Rangitseni can do, but they believe it exists in and of itself. Before I started giving it names, okay. As a thing to be named, it existed by itself. Before I started giving it names, okay. But somehow, it was supposed to be called coffee cup. You see what I mean? And our country was supposed to be called correct always. You see what I mean? It's the cause of all wars and misunderstandings. Okay. Okay. So anyway, the Kuntaki Shir, you see? Kuntaki Shir. The basis that is given, attributed, what? A basic nature, no, and Kepar. So don't take this R and Kepar as being any kind of Ladin. As being a Dani grammar case, as in the same way that we had it in words text. In words text, there's millions of these R's, meaning they appear as the outer objects or they appear as the sense powers. But here it's not that. It's just part of the noun. Yeah, it's Kipper. Kipper. It's just a nominative noun. Character features. Okay, qualities. Okay.
Qualities, right. Okay.
Sorry?
Like
That's
Numpar?
cool.
Yeah. No. Nampa, you see, doesn't have an R.
Oh.
You see what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Keper as a noun has an R.
Does have an okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm wondering, you're saying that extra comma is not a special character in the print.
It would have been it would have been this vertical slash.
Oh, okay.
Shit.
So Kipar lot.
I can go show you the scan, but it's a waste of time.
Okay.
Just trust me, it's a mess.
Besides, it would be weird to have the R's that right next to, when a do follows it.
Exactly. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right.
If a ladun, which is required to, a ladun can't follow a ladun normally.
Right.
Maybe you
Normally.
can find a case. Well, maybe there's one case, but you're absolutely correct. If it's due here, this cannot be a ladun. Okay. So anyway, get the feeling that in the lower two schools, meaning not mind only, below the mind only, below the mind only,
Yeah.
they think that it should have been called cup.
Right.
Okay, it should have been called cup. Our country's policies should have been called always correct. Okay, this is like this feeling, right? And I just made myself a note here, compare it to the Senisum, the three qualities, but it ain't them.
Okay.
It's not that kuntak, okay? It's a different kuntak. And I don't think he's ever going to mention the three definitions or the three qualities, okay?
Because we're only talking about things.
Now this mistake was especially painful.
Oh.
And it took me another 20 minutes to figure it out, you know? And I'm wondering if there's ones I didn't figure out. I think I got most of them, but it's like roaches in your house. You know, every time you see one, there's going to be two that you don't see. I mean, New York, I can understand.
Geshe-la, do you want me to send it to Gordon?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
No,
To Sarnath for.
find a better copy and get it input before next term, because this is unacceptable. We can't work with this.
Yeah.
You know, a few healthy mistakes is nice because it makes me look good when Veronica's here, but
I figured this.
but every other word it's just too much. It's just too much. You know,
Yeah.
it disturbs the flow of the work. It takes too many hours to figure it out.
Or impossible for
So Dinde Kundangni. Now he's going to explain what it means to label an object as having a basic nature and qualities. Okay.
We're at just a couple minutes left.
Okay.
Could you say that last part again? What it means to
What does it
label?
mean? You know, when I say you're labeling its mo, which means its basic nature, and you're labeling it with its characteristics, well, what's that mean exactly? And he clarifies here very nicely. So a lot of your translation of this section will come from your understanding of this sentence.
Okay.
Dinde kuntangni. Now, what do we mean by this kind of labeling? You know, what are we talking about here? Ngombo, when you're looking at blue, the color blue,
Blue and such.
and you say to yourself, this is a kind of visible form. This is a kind of visible form. When you label it that way, when you label it in those words in your mind, this is a kind of visible form,
That's no.
you are talking about its basic nature.
Yeah.
But when you say, here's an example of a visible form starting, or here's an example of a visible form stopping,
Right.
when you talk about its details, then you're talking about characteristics. You are attributing characteristics. Okay, got it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he wants to emphasize that it's a verbal process. Think to yourself in your mind. Give it these words. Call it that. Okay, so here dope or dark becomes call it, quote, this is visible form, or quote, this is a case where visible form is starting or stopping. Okay? Got it? So the first one, now this verb dak at the end distributes to both parts. You are either dakaing, labeling it about its essence, or which I call nature, or you are labeling it about its kepas.
Quality.
It's
Okay, yeah, its qualities. And so you are, and probably this do will also distribute to ngo. Okay, ngo or. Okay, got it? So that's so more comfortable. You know, what do you mean nature? What do you mean qualities? I mean, you say it's visible. That's its basic nature. And then you say it started in this way, it stopped in this way. That's its qualities. Okay,
It's
characteristics.
fuzzy where you draw the line there.
Yeah, how do you draw that? I don't know. Last sentence, right?
Okay.
Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a good place to stop, actually. Well, it'd be nice to do the next one too. Yeah, I was uncomfortable. Anyway, I fixed it. Ngomo so ngolen kepo de sam to yupe. But okay. But since blue and other similar things they do exist with
Quality.
a certain nature and a certain qualities, just that, they do have basic nature and they do have basic qualities. That much, they're not denying, we're not denying. Nobody's denying. Nobody's denying it's a kind of visible form.
Right.
Nobody's denying it started and it stopped.
I see.
Nobody's denying just that much. Some, chum.
Only that.
Uh, Chum is a kind of dance. Just that much nobody's denying. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
Nobody's denying it has a nature. Nobody's denying it has qualities. What we're denying, okay, Gokpa
Uh-huh.
is that
Oh.
they could exist,
Rangi-seniki-drupa.
yeah, in and of themselves.
By
That,
definition.
that the thing could exist by definition. That's
That's nice.
or that its nature and its qualities could exist by definition. This is what we're denying.
Yeah.
I want to go one more line.
Thank you.
Deyan sukso ngodan keba kitani kishi yembani. Now let's talk about the thing which is gonna receive the name. She.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the thing which is gonna be attributed to the nature or characteristics.
Tanya.
Okay, let's talk about the thing before you called it from. Okay, which is called the Tanyeki Shi.
Conventional. But,
Rangi-seniki.
No, here it's not conventional. It's the thing which received the name. Tanya means
the
name.
thing which receives the
Term.
name.
Term. Yeah. Okay, so
As
here
opposed to Ning.
it's the same as Ming here. Exactly the same as Ming here. Usually Tanya can mean a term, and more often it might be multi-word. Okay, but here it's just in this philosophical system. Okay, it just means the thing which is gonna receive the name. Please give me a name. Okay, it's a thing talking to you. I'm out here. Can you just give me a name? Okay. So, what's the ontological status of that thing before you get it a name? You know, it was sitting here saying, "Please give me a name. Make me something." But you're nothing. You're nobody. No, but I'm something. Okay, so what are you before you get your name? What's its status before it got its name? Okay, that's the disagreement here. Okay, Shiyamba, ni. Now let's talk about that thing, which is the basis, which gets the names of, oh, this is its nature. Kyuni suk, dini suk so. Or characteristics. Dini suk gewa o, dini suk gakba o. You see, what is it that got the name? That's the interesting thing. Okay, then they had Ying for Ming, which was always fun. Even though it is only established through name and terms.
Right.
Names and terms. Terms meaning mental pictures. Okay, but the word meaning terms. But Da and Tanya are very similar. Okay. Even though it just exists through names and ideas, really, concepts, it's still young.
Young, yeah, no.
It
Yes,
exists.
it still exists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's flirting with
Yeah, because it
Stuff
exists.
exists.
what's cool.
It's
It's Svatantrika.
No,
Right.
Prasangika. I mean, this is us, Mingde Shaktam. We are the Mingde Shaktam.
Right,
It's
right.
cool. Everything exists just through the mental picture coming out of the karmic state.
Right.
Adding the word coming out of the karmic state is one of the achievements of DCI.
yeah, even though it's Mingde Shakti,
Yeah.
it's still Yepa.
Yeah, okay. There ranki chiniki dupa ni mepe. It doesn't exist, okay? There is very important here. The little words are the crucial words.
Yeah.
What's it mean?
As
What's
that.
the there?
By that. Or,
Yeah,
no,
as
sorry,
that.
yeah.
As what? Tanyeki sen shir. Okay? Tanyeki sen shir.
The
It
basis.
doesn't exist as the thing that was asking for a name, okay, in and of itself. Okay? It doesn't exist. For it to be the thing that got the name doesn't exist in and of itself. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Or a cup before it got the name cannot exist in and of itself. That's mepa. Okay? Maybe. Therefore, what they are, therefore, kegga means you have to deny. Okay? You have to deny that it could exist the way it looks.
That it could exist the way it
You have to
appears.
deny the way that it could exist the way it seems to exist. Okay? No, literally it says here, you have to deny that it could exist the way it seems to exist as being that. Okay, tricky, very tricky. Okay, as being what? As being a thing which is to receive a name which exists in and of itself before it got the name. Okay, and that's the mind-only school. Okay. Sorry, is it the mind-only school?
Yeah,
I think we're shading into the mind-only school. We started with the two listener schools. They said that thing exists in and of itself. No, I'm sorry. They just said it didn't exist in and of itself. Oh no, yeah.
That the name and the
No, you see here, if you read it without the comma, it existed as the thing to be given the name.
Right.
Okay, in and of itself.
in and of itself.
That was the lower school, lower two school.
Right.
And now, how does the mind only improve on the lower two schools? Well, they say the thing that was asking for a name didn't exist. Rangi ne luki. Wanki. You could have said Rangi ne no ki, or you could have said Rangi ne luki wanki.
Oh,
Same thing. It's the same thing. Wanki is just an instrumental. Okay.
Right.
It didn't exist through some nature of its own, or through its own reality.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's the difference between the mind only school and the two lower schools?
The
Here.
basis didn't exist through its own reality. The
Yeah.
basis didn't exist
How did
by
the
definition.
thing exist before you gave it the name?
Yeah.
And somehow they want it to be coffee cup before it's called coffee cup. That's the point.
The two lower schools.
That's the point.
Yeah.
They want to say, which implies something's coming this way.
Yeah.
It's all
Okay?
coffee
They
cup.
want it somehow to be a coffee cup before you call it a coffee cup, before you think of it as a coffee cup, before an image comes out of your comic seeds to overlay it as a coffee cup in the Prasangika language. Cool? They want it to be what it is before your karma tells you what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? Which is human nature.
Right.
They are bad country. We're a good country.
That's
This
why you
is the
don't
way.
label a cat a horse.
Sashi.
Jushin metotram Piraglingshin indegen badi Sange shingdu mikte oagi Dokun namda shingla chuparshok Ilam guru rana mandala kandiyatayami
Gewa.
Di Gewokun Sunam Yeshe Tsoktsoksin Sunam Yeshe Lechungwe Tamba Kunyi Toparsho
Shogi.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
You're welcome.
Oh.
Shogi Shmogi.